Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I think this thing is echoing, and I'm really wondering why, because usually it doesn't. Can we hear me? Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Um, Let me know if you can hear me properly because I think it's echoing at my end. It usually doesn't echo, but I think it's echoing at my end. I'm waiting for my other guests to join me, but while they join me, I want to appreciate everybody joining me here today. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning from anywhere you're hearing me from. My name is Ifeolu Oluwofela, and today we're going to be answering questions. We're going to be doing question and answer series for nurses intending to migrate to Canada, or generally for people, good evening, Linda. Thank you so much for joining. How are you doing today? Yes, so I'm coming. Just permit me to quickly do something here. So basically, we're going to be spending 1 hour here. Please, if you have friends that want to join in, tell them to quickly join in because I want to keep all my live chat to just 1 hour. Just 1 hour. I want to keep all my live chat to just 1 hour so that people can, anybody that wants to watch again can watch again without having stress or issues. So, like I said, I'm waiting for my other guests to join. Good evening, Blessing. Good evening, Linda. Good evening, Justina. Thank you so much for joining in today. This is my consultant. She's looking so wow. She's looking so yummy this afternoon. Thank God that I quickly dressed up. Is that how you want to come and win me here? Consultant, how are you doing now?
I'm sorry today.
Sorry, I know, I understand.
It's well.
Pele,
Hi Vicky, nice to meet you.
how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Consultant, I can't really hear you very well. Can you increase your volume?
Oh right. I think it's at the highest here. Let me see. Oh.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so my guests are joining. They're just trying to settle in, so you can see them. That is the USRN. That is the immigration consultant. She's the one that is going to be answering immigration questions today. I'm not going to be doing all that. And that is I usually call her consultant. So she's the one that is going to be dealing with provinces, NNAS. I'm waiting for the fourth person. Thank you so much, Adebukola. I'm waiting for the third person. But however, we would start and then she can always join us in. Yes. So we don't want to spend a lot of time. A lot of people know me, right? My name is Ifeolu Oluwofela. You all know me. I don't know. So consultant, immigration consultant, can you introduce yourself to us? That's Vicky.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is
I
Vicky.
can't hear you. Can you? Let me mute. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, but it's echoing. Can we hear her? If you can hear her, let me know. Something is echoing. I muted you already. Okay, let's see. Let's talk now. Let's see if we can hear you. Is it mine that is echoing? Am I the one echoing?
I think. Wait.
Am I the one echoing? It shouldn't be me. Okay, Vicky, can you talk? Let us hear you. Okay, let me mute my mic.
Can. Oh, this one is echoing. I'm on my laptop and my phone, but the other one is muted.
You can turn down the volume of your laptop, like your laptop, totally, then use your phone to speak. It will work that way. Let me remove this one from the stream. Sorry everyone, we're just trying to set things up here. Consultants, can we hear you speak?
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
It's not from my
Okay,
end.
can you introduce yourself to us while Vicky gets our own sorted?
Okay.
Right. So my name is Ofre P. Sojimoyi. I'm a registered nurse.
Can we all hear her very well? Because I can't hear her really
Can you
well.
hear me now?
Oh God, I've tried to.
Your volume is loud and clear. What's happening today?
Okay.
Can you hear me, Ofela?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so we're good on my end then.
Okay. Hi, Nurse MJ.
Hey, what's up? Good afternoon. Sorry, I'm a little bit late there.
How are you doing?
Just there. Tired, let's be honest. Okay. Is it possible that when someone is talking, the others can mute?
Is it what?
Is it possible that if one person is talking, others mute? Because it's like there's that glitch.
I don't know. I'm going to just mute everybody. Okay, can you speak now, Nurse MJ? Don't worry, I'll mute myself, then you can speak.
Okay. Hi. I think it's much better now. I'm not hearing that lousy noise. Okay, no, I'm saying like I'm just tired because honestly I came up from a night shift and I need to like hit on the road, so just tired. But let's see how we can go on this. I can hear you.
Can you introduce yourself to us?
Who?
Yourself. Introduce yourself to us.
Oh. Okay. My name is MJ, Mary Jane, like to be called MJ. I'm a Canadian registered nurse currently.
I have a lot of work to do today because I have to be muting and unmuting, which I don't know what's happening today. Okay, please, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Right. My name is Ofre P. Sojimoyi. I'm a registered nurse. I trained in the UK. Is that all you have to know, or you want me to say more? Because it depends on how far you want me to go, right?
You always say this all the time. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, Vicky, can we try now? Let's see.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay, so my name is Victory Adibisi. I am a US registered nurse and I live in between the US and Canada. Now, MJ, you're muted.
Yeah, I know she. Okay, so what I would do is once I want to speak, I'll mute myself. And then once everybody else is done, I would also, so because it's going to be a lot of work for me today, but it's okay. So somebody said they want to know more. Sorry, I'm confused today because of this thing. Please, did you see that question? You are the lawyer here. So tell us about your, from transitioning into law to nursing. Very briefly.
In society, I majored in law and society and minored in psychology with the hope of going into law school here in Canada. But then I decided to change for various reasons that are either like they were a mix of personal reasons and other factors. So I decided to go back to nursing. But before then, Joe, I did train as a nurse back in Italy. So I did have a diploma for nursing in Italy. So I just decided to go back to nursing and went to the UK, did my nursing, did a master's, and then came back to Canada. So currently, well, let me just leave it there. I'm not sure if the person wants to know more. You can be more specific, like what exactly do you want to know? in terms of my journey.
Oh, Boma and Tam, she likes to know what exactly you want to know, so you can maybe give us a better hint of what you want to know. Yeah. So, where is Vicky? Vicky's supposed to start. Okay. Nosem J, please start. Tell us about your journey and then tell us about province selection in Canada. Is Nosem J gone? We can't hear you.
Okay, hi. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm still trying to wake up from sleep. Like I said, I had a very busy one last night. Okay, so my journey and how it started. I migrated to Canada in the year 2015. Prior to that, I was already a registered nurse in Nigeria. Worked briefly with the Federal Medical Center in Kefi precisely for over 2 years and before I moved down here. It wasn't an easy journey, I would say, but a worthwhile at the end of the day. Now, I really have very few to say in terms of province selection because generally, as a whole, Canada process is very, very slow. So it has to be with lots of patience, and a lot of finances is involved as well. So when it comes to province selection, I would pretty much say you have to source where you think you're going to be spending most of your years in Canada. It's not just about where is quicker for you to get the license, because honestly, there are places that are quite easy to get the license, no doubt, but it still kind of come with time. It's just that they have a little bit of a laid back requirement as compared to other provinces like BC or Alberta that are pretty brutal when it comes to getting international educated nurses to their provinces. So when it comes to province selection, you have to do your research. Where do you think you're going to spend most of your years in Canada? Is it going to be in a better climate, like I always advocate for BC, or is it going to be in one of the harsh weather, like Alberta or other northern western territories? It's totally up to you anyway. So but yeah, you just have to figure out where exactly are you going to spend most of your years in Canada, and then that should be your first selection. And then the second option is, like we Nigeria, we always say, go put all your eggs for one basket. So I often say, okay, if you want to run for RN, totally fine. Your first choice should be RN, of course, and where you're going to spend most of your years should go with that RN province. And then you split your basket by not the same RN, but at LPN. Now, why do you say LPN? So the question here is, why run for two provinces for RN? It's just going to slow things down for you because LPN tend to have a much less requirement as compared to RN. So you can actually start working as an LPN to get yourself into the workforce, have an experience on how they do things, rather than waiting to get the requirement for RN, and then after a few minutes or a few months, you then get that of the province you're looking for. At the end of the day, you've spent quite a lot of money compared to if you had splitted RN and LPN, and then you realize that you're not really well prepared to get into the workforce. So what kind of helped me was the fact that I had to spread both. I knew for a fact that I wasn't going to leave BC. Even if I was going to visit another province for a couple of years, I know on the long run, BC is where I'm going to stay. Probably that's because this was the first province I came to. So I had to come back to BC, and my RN registration was with the BC province. And then my LPN registration went to Alberta province because I have a few friends there and also like a distant cousin there. So it's like, okay, at least I can use that to right away time. And luckily for me, the LPN, like I said, it has lesser requirements. Now, I don't encourage anybody to do LPN in a province where it's pretty brutal like BC. You want to go to a province where it's pretty straightforward and easy to navigate. Of course, no process in Canada is easy to navigate, but much more easier compared to the RN process. So that's why I would recommend your first choice should go with the brutal province, which is where you think you're going to spend most of your years in. And then the LPN should go to a province that you know that you're going to have like less requirement to meet up to. For example, like Alberta told me to go and challenge the board exam for the LPN, which was the CPNRE, they call it. So it was pretty like a straightforward thing for me. And another thing, again, I also want to keep in mind is your report. Now, based on your report, the fact that it was easy for me to navigate the LPN, it doesn't mean it might be easy for someone else. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to be easy for another person. It's just basically on your report. So based on your report, she tell you exactly how the process is going to take, if it's going to take long. Say, for example, you get a report that says somewhat comparable. Now your chances are, yes, it might be easy to navigate. Or say you get a report that says not comparable, then I'm sorry, you're going to go through quite a bit of a process, because you may have to do some requirements like doing some transitional courseworks and all of that. So just keep in mind, again, just to recap, when it comes to provinces, I would recommend you go to a province that you know you're going to spend most of your years in Canada with, should be your RN selection. And then your second option should be the LPN, not RN again, LPN, so that way you can get your license a bit earlier. You can get into the workforce and you can start getting experience to create that stamina for you and also that self-confidence. Because I tell you, it's brutal out there in the workforce as a registered nurse.
Everybody hear me? Thank you so much. Yes, so she has mentioned a huge part of everything we need to know, as in most of it, right? Not everything, but she has mentioned, just really touched a whole lot of things. Like I picked that she said that don't just go to a province because you're going to get your RM faster. Like for me now, my husband lives in Alberta. So if I pick a province like BC, it's going to be stressful for my family, because how do I pack my children and everybody to BC? And how do I tell my husband, oh, we have to start living in BC? He has a house we have our house in Alberta. So you have to put a lot of things into consideration. Where do you want to live? Where is your fiance? Where are your family members? Where do you get support? Because this place is lonely, so you need support. You need to talk to people and all that. So I'll leave the floor now for Peace to add to what Nosemji had said about provinces. That's the lawyer, yeah. So she's still going to tell us about our law journey. Somebody keeps asking. So the lawyer, can I over to you?
Okay, I just unmuted myself. I think MJ has basically said all you need to know. But one thing to keep in mind is that everybody's journey is different. So depending on your long-term goals, you need to be able to align your choices with your goals. So that's the first thing you need to understand. And I don't know, I think saying it's not about getting your license first. I don't know how much we need to really say that over and over again, because you would get stuck if you're trying to get things fast. Understand that the process takes time and you need to learn to be patient and understand that nothing good comes easily. So just go through the process. Don't try to jump corners or anything. Go through it, and I promise you at the end of the day, it will be all worth it. And to respond to the lady asking for how to transition from being a lawyer to being a nurse in Canada, there's a bit to say there, but the first step is to understand that your law degree is not going to give you a nursing license. So you definitely have to go back to school and get a nursing degree. So that would depend on if you want to get a 4-year bachelor's degree or you want to do the after degree program. I think that there's a lot to say about that, and I'm not sure what your personal circumstances are. So if you'd want to talk more about it, I don't think this is a space to actually go deep into stuff like that. You can drop me an email or ask for my contact from Nosofela, and we can have a one-on-one chat, and I'll be able to put you through. So we don't consume the time that I would use to say other things that are pretty much more valuable for the audience. So just drop me a message on to you on that.
Thank you so much, consultant. Yes, so that person should just you can book a session with her or more consulting. Send me a DM on Ife_Ofela on Instagram. Then we can schedule you a call. We can schedule a call with you and her so that you can, have don't worry, for now, she's not going to charge for the consultation session, just for now. So, but you can book a session. just because you're on this line, you can book a session and then you can get to talk to her one-on-one, So Nurse NJ, you are going to quickly answer this question. Tell us what you mean by brutal out there in the workforce as RN. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, so when I use the word brutal, it's been very realistic in the workforce. Brutal in the sense of, in terms of nurse ratio, patient ratio versus a nurse. It's also more about having to be very self-sufficient in the workforce. Now, I find out there's a lot, and I mean, there is a lot of gap when it comes to nursing applicability with the nursing foundation. Now, the nursing foundation, which is the theory, of course, is universal. What you learn in Adamawa is the same thing you're going to learn in Zamfara or all over Nigeria. And even when you come here, you realize that you are also learning the same thing. The only difference is their applicability. Now, that applicability has to do with a lot of high advanced technology in their workforce, which is what they use more here in Canada. In Nigeria, I can give an example. When we have a classic signs and symptoms of hypoglycemia, we are not waiting to run a test. We know that this is hypoglycemia. We're rushing in to give like the dextrose, 50%, or we're trying to push in the whole glucagon in the mouth to get that person going. But when it comes to here, they would want you to first go grab. It's like they depend so much on that high technology. It's more or less like having to give a rationale for everything you do, basically. Now, if you don't have that self-sufficient knowledge on how to face the workforce, you're going to get tired out easily. You're going to find yourself not fitting into a team. And it's going to be more or less like I don't want to use the word incapacitated, but you're going to feel like you're not valuable. That's the honest truth. So you really, really, really have to get yourself into a situation where you get those experience so that you're self-sufficient. Learning extra doesn't take anything from you. It just makes you self-sufficient. And being a colored nurse, I'm going to be honest with you, as a colored nurse, there is more accountability on you than even the white. This is not about racism. It's just how it is. Because when you ask the reason why is it this, some of them would tell you, well, you didn't really train here, so you're not used to our system. They often fly with that kind of excuse. So I just laugh sometimes. But you and I know is the fact that sometimes they feel like they question us, like, do we have that knowledge? Do you get? It's more about like they don't trust our knowledge. They feel like we're below them. They're here and we're here. But on the real face, it's not. I used to say to some of my colleagues that if you bring me, and this is no shade to BSN nurses, because I'm a BSN as well, but if you bring me a diploma RN nurse and bring me a BSN nurse, you're going to see a difference. It's not a shade, like I said. The diploma nurse has a lot, and I mean, when it comes to that self-sufficient practical knowledge. Now, this is not theoretical knowledge. This is more of practical knowledge, because what we are taught in the class, when we come to the real class or to the real practice setting, we realize there's a bit of a difference too. They tell you ABC, but in the real setting, we don't do ABC. So when I say brutal, it's having to keep an idea out there that it is not exactly 1, 2, 3 that you read chronologically in class. It's different. You have to be quick to learn. You have to be willing to accept feedback, even the one sometimes that is very not enticing in your ear. You know, they say critics helps a lot in improvement. Yes, but there are some of their critics that is just trying to undermine you. Now you have to develop that thick-skinned. Tell yourself that you are there protecting your license. And in Nigeria, it's not the one we will go and give meds and you think that nobody will find out. If you give overdose and they find out, it's your license. So when I say it's brutal, it's like all eyes are watching you. Your every step you make, your clinical decision-making skills, they are watching. Why did you do this? You have to give an accountability for every step that you take in the workforce. And that's why that knowledge is very, very important. You have to gain as much experience as you can, even if it means for you acting like a fool. Now, I'm going to say this in my tribal language. Sometimes, according to the proverb, it says, act like a fool, like you don't know what you're doing. But the moment you get it, then show them who truly you are. So when I started my journey as an LPN, I was like that food that they can toss around, but I knew exactly what I was gaining. I knew the experience I was trying to add up to my resume. It's not a joke right now. My value, it's not anyhow employer that can take me out there because I know exactly what I can bring to the table. So you have to start from somewhere. And that knowledge that you're going to use to start is indispensable. It's a process, yes, but the moment you get it, you know that you can be anywhere in the workforce and you can give them that self-confidence and say, listen, I know my job and I can do it well. And you can really keep your feet, be assertive. You know what you're doing. So that's what I mean brutal. It's brutal on the workforce, not just because of your registered nurse, but also because you're colored. Just keep that in mind. Thank you.
So much, Nosemji. That was powerful. Thank you so much. That was really powerful. And I also picked a lot of things about what you said, especially concerning acting like a fool to get what you want to get, you know, and the fact that, yes, you are colored and it's going to spice up a lot of things. When I started working, in fact, I had a shift one time that I went to work and I felt like, what is happening? Why is this lady all on me? What is in fact, I told everybody I worked that day that she's a racist. He really got to me. I told everyone I worked, she's a racist because why is she? What's the matter? You see, because she's working with me today, that she has to make me talk to me this way, do this to me. And you know what I did? The next time we worked together, and then she tried to pull that stunt again because I reported that to the manager. And then I just felt it seems everybody just leave this lady to, you know, do whatever she wants to do. And then I told her, I said, no, today I'm not going to take this from you. We are going to work together as a team, but you're not going to talk to me anyhow today. And I called her by her name. Are you listening? Can you hear me? The other nurse that is a black, she was just really laughing that, what is wrong with Ellen today? I want to enjoy my day. I don't want you to ruin it. I told her that very day. And then I found that she started behaving herself. I said, yes, good. This is how it should be. Don't treat me like I'm trash. You can correct me, good, but don't. She comes like, Ellen, I told you this thing, you refuse to do it. And she comes like this. So I felt so terrible the first day. So I'm like, no, I'm not gonna take this from you again. So let us know that it will happen. It can happen because they just feel that you are colored, you know less, you know, a lot of things. But if it's going brutal, like if it's going to the extreme, this is my own advice. So I'm not advising you to do it, but me, I will quickly take it away. Don't bring it to me. Let us, hey, that is me. That is who I am. I give you the space. Then when I see you're not correcting, because I reported out to the manager. So when I felt the manager did not really do what I wanted to do, I took it up myself and I did it myself. And I love it. Yeah. So somebody asked a question here. Thank you so much, Nosemji. That was really powerful. Thank you so much. Everybody's saying thank you in the comment section. They feel motivated and all of it. And yes, I felt motivated too. Dr. Okoko. I don't know who this Dr. Okoko is, but thank you so much for joining. So people have been asking this question. Let me just highlight it. I'm going to bring the immigration consultant in now to give us some insights about immigration route. So Vicky, are you ready for us? Woo! Woo! Yeah, so you can.
Okay. Oh, I cannot. Oh, I'm having such a day. Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. All right, so talking immigration to Canada. First off, I'd say Canada has one of the most organized immigration, like the way it's structured, and I like it because you actually know what you need to do to get what you want. That's for the immigration to Canada. There are various platforms that you could use to immigrate into Canada. So for immigrating into Canada, The most popular one people really use right now is the express entry. And although the express entry has been closed, they've not been nominating for the federal skilled worker and some of the other programs since 2020 when COVID started. But the good news, like I always say, is that the express entry is going to be starting back in July, which is just next month. So this time is a good time for you to build your documentation. And what do you really need for your express entry? They rank you based on your profile, and your profile would include your age, your language proficiency. And when we say language proficiency, we mean both English and French, because Canada is bilingual. So you could either have either or you have both of them. So if you have both the English and French proficiency, you have a higher chance of getting invited to apply for your permanent residence. Then aside your age, we've talked about the language, then there is also your educational qualification. Now, the more schooled you are, the higher you're going to rank on that education. So you could get points for, like, this was the first time that, in Nigeria, when you have a bachelor's degree and another person has OND, HND, I know bachelor's degree people kind of look down on OND people and be like, oh, they just have a HND. But for Canada immigration, HND is perfect because you have 2 degrees. So it means you have OND and you have HND. So you're going to score higher than someone who just has a bachelor's degree, which is just 1 degree. But if you have a master's degree, then obviously that is higher than either 2 degrees or the bachelor's degree. Then you also have, if you have a PhD, you can add that. So when you want to assess for your credentials, you are going to assess your highest degree or both degrees if you have HND, OND. I know most nursing schools, I'm going to try to focus it back to nursing, because as far as immigration is concerned, it is very, very broad. Canada has a whole spectrum of ways you can become legally residents in Canada. But as it concerns nurses, right now, I know most schools now have converted from the regular School of Nursing to a College of Nursing. Like, I attended Edo State School of Nursing in Sapele Road in Benin. It's been shut down for a while, but like, I think last year they started back, and now it's a College of Nursing. So, and I also noticed that the school in UBTH, and I'm sure most of the schools in Nigeria right now, there will be colleges of nursing, and now they're offering ONDs and HNDs and all of that, right? So if you have your RN and your RM, which is what I used when I did my my express entry, so you can assess both of those certifications, your diplomas. You can assess them, but you assess them using either ICAS, which is IQAS, is an abbreviation, but that's the abbreviation, right? Or you assess it using ICES, which is ICES, right? So either ICAS or ICES is what you would use to assess your credentials if you are a registered nurse midwife, or you're a registered nurse pediatrics, or accident and emergency, ophthalmic, and all the arrows that exist, right? So that's what you use. Do not under any circumstance use WES, because that's the pitfall that most nurses fall into. Do not use WES if you don't want them to just give you assessment for just a bachelor's degree. Because first of all, WES does not give a favorable assessment for RN, RM, and for every school of nursing or school of post-basic nursing. WES would not give you a favorable response. Because when I say favorable response, I mean that at the end of your assessment, your report should read that you are equivalent, your education is equivalent to that of Canada. So they will write either equivalent to a 2-year Canadian diploma, or equivalent to a 2-year master's in Canada, right? So you need to show that equivalence for you to be able to use that ECA, which is what the assessment is called. It's called an ECA. That's what you use for immigration. So it has to show equivalence to Canadian education for you to be able to use it. So that's why if you have the diplomas, don't go for WES. And I know some nurses too, with their bachelor's degree, you can also, depends on your school now, right? But you can assess each of the components of your bachelor's degree into 3 parts. Do you get? You know, when you do a bachelor's degree straight up in Nigeria, you receive RN, RM, and public health for most schools. Now, what that does for you is that if you use a body like ICES, ICAS, and your school is able to send individual transcripts, because you know when you go for public health, you actually go to a school of public health and you write the wahib or something, I've forgotten the name of the exam, and you get your registered public health nurse, right? So you have that credential. So if they're able to separate it for you to give you transcripts to send to the assessing body, it's possible to use your bachelor's degree to get 2 certificates. Like you now have 2 or more certificates rather than just your bachelor's degree. But if you go for WES is just going to give you bachelor's degree. And if you were a diploma nurse midwife, WES is going to write that you did a hospital training, which is quite insulting, right? Because they don't put it as an equivalence to anything. So they just write that, oh, the person had a hospital training, but it's not equivalent to anything, right? So that's what you do for your nursing, for your assessment of your credentials. Note also that assessment for immigration is totally different from assessments for your licensure, right? Unlike other countries like the US, where the same body like CGFNS or John Silke, those guys can assess you for both. For Canada, it's like 2 different bodies. So those going for licensure, you have to go to Nnas, which is the body that, you know, does their thing in their own time. But if you want to do immigration, you have to go to ICES, ICAS. They're like about 4 or 5 bodies that Canadian immigration has tasked with providing the credential evaluation. So the best bet for nurses is for you to go for either ICAS or ICES, right? So if you're going for ICES, that's the one with the ICES, you're going to pay $200 per degree. You understand? So if you have RN and RM, it's 200 plus 200, right? That's, you pay 400 before taxes. Then if you're going for ICAS, most times ICAS will charge you just the 200 for whatever degree you want to bring. But one is slower than the other. But both of them at the end of the day, they have a much longer wait time than WES, which is the most preferred one by every other person, right? So with people who have a master's in nursing, you don't have to stress yourself to go through ICAS or ICES. Just go straight to WES. Because if your school is able to send WES their requirements in time, WES has a processing time of 35 days, while the others are like 8 weeks to 12 weeks and thereabouts. And it could be more. Although some people tend to get theirs in like 4 to 6 weeks, but it is not certain. I've had people who have been on ICAS and ICES for a long time. So you want to start your credential evaluation way ahead of time before your desired time to plan your trip. So for you to know if you are qualified or not, you can go to the IROCC website and type into the search box, just type in CRS score, or you can type it into your Google, right? Just type in CRS score. So when you Google search your CRS score, you'll be able to impute your data. So your age, your marital status, if you've written the IELTS, what you got on the IELTS and all of that. If you impute all of these things, then it's going to give you a score. Now, the higher the score is ranked from 0 to 1,200. So the higher you score on that grid, the higher your chances of being invited by the federal government for for you to submit your permanent residence application, right? So that is one way. Those that don't qualify for that way, or they are maybe older, because once you hit 30 years of age, you start losing 5 points every birthday. So Express Entry is one place where you're not excited to celebrate your birthday, because you know that, okay, I'm 30 this year, so that means I have lost 5 points. And sometimes 5 points can be a very deciding point. Imagine the difference between 445 and 450 is, yeah, it's just 5, right? So you want to maximize your score. And when you're writing your IELTS, you have to aim to score at least the minimum that guarantees you a good score. And that minimum is a CLB of 9. A CLB is the Canadian language benchmark. So when you translate CLB into IELTS, that's going to give you 8 in listening and 7 in all others, which we can see is much higher than our UK routes, right? Because the UK routes, over time, stakeholders have beat the score down. But for immigration, first you're writing the general IELTS, or the for if you're writing IELTS, you're writing general version, not UKVI or anything like that. Just plain old general IELTS, right? And you have to aim to score at least an 8 in listening and a 7 in all others, right? The good thing now is we have a choice now in Nigeria, because CELPIP has moved to some locations in Nigeria. So you could actually write CELPIP in Lagos and Abuja right now. So the CELPIP fee is about 285 Canadian dollars. Right now, they don't have their fees in Naira yet. So I'm sure over time, they are going to try to reconcile the price and know how they'll put it in Naira to be more accessible for people to pay. But you could always reach out to people, your siblings, friends, or whatever, to pay for you. Then you transfer them to Naira, right? Because I know most Nigerian cards may not allow you to make that transaction. But that's just to put that out there, that CELPIP is available in Nigeria. You should take advantage of it. CELPIP versus IELTS. I know a lot of people have built a lot of fear around IELTS. Both exams are no big deal. I tend to tell people it's mostly all in your head. You hear it and listening, and you're like, oh my God, are you not listening to me right now? Are you not hearing what I'm saying right now? If they ask you, oh, what did Vicky say about, what we need for RN, at least you will pick something out. How much more when you're seated in an exam trying to listen to get grades, right? So as long as we can control our nerves and negative thoughts and all of that, you will be fine with your IELTS and your language exams. Now, if you can take it a notch further and learn French, then good for you, right? Because with French, someone who's 20, say 28 or less than 30, anywhere less than 30, if you're less than 30 with just a bachelor's degree and you scored very well in your IELTS, you have 3 years work experience, you will score about 444 CRS score for Canadian Immigration Express Entry. But if you now pass French at a CLB 8 level, and you add it to that English, and you're going to score high ends of 400. And if that same person now happens to have a sibling who is a permanent resident or a Canadian citizen, your score will be 515. So the last time before they went on a break with Express Entry, the highest they ever went to for federal skilled workers, which is a category that almost everybody will fall into because you didn't school in Canada and all of that, the highest it went to was about 470 something. So imagine if you have 500, it means you're just sitting and waiting for Express Entry to resume in July, and you're going to get your invitation to apply. So you either go through the Express Entry if you're a nurse, or you can try to get a work permit. Good thing that because of COVID and all of that, some provinces, they are more open to providing you with a work permit. So how that works is basically you're applying, even when you see like jobs on Indeed and all of that. I have a contact who just applied randomly. They're trying to apply for the HCA for UK, but they're seeing some Canadian ones pop up. They applied, right? And they were selected and shortlisted and sent an unconditional offer letter. And they're going to start their immigration through the Atlantic provinces pilot and start that and give them a work permit. And after 2 years, you can apply for your permanent residence. So that's just to say that we cannot cover all of the routes that you would use to come to Canada as a nurse. And let's not forget, you also have the study permits, like the study route. You could choose to come here as a student, then convert. So the list is endless, right? It's so endless. So it's for you to identify which one you are most suited for. What does your profile? If you don't qualify because you're older, maybe your spouse qualifies. So it doesn't matter who's the principal applicant, as long as the entire family pulls through, right? So all these are some of the things that you can use, like some of the ways you could use to come to Canada as a resident, either as a permanent resident or a temporary resident. I think I'll just stop here for now, because if I keep going on, I can literally go on for hours, right? So I would let your questions come in, so that would sort of streamline where we're talking about and what people actually want to know about. So thank you.
Exactly. Sorry. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was another powerful one. Thank you so much. Yes, so we're going to just go straight to taking questions. So somebody is asking, as a UKRN, what immigration rules can they use to become a Canadian RN? We can take that first, then we'll just quickly take some other ones.
So when you say as a UKRN, what immigration can you use? Well, it's irrelevant where you are. That's the first thing I want to say. Even if we have a caption saying UKRNs and all of that, it's really not like the immigration officer is not going to say, oh, this person is in the UK, so we're going to give more favoritism to this person because she's a UKRN. No. If you qualify in UK, you will qualify in UKRN. It's irrelevant where you are. That's my point, right? So the same things I just listed as what you need to do to come into Canada, immigration-wise, is the same thing you will still need whether you are in the UK or you are in Kafanchan. Do you understand? You still need to write your IELTS or whatever language exam you're doing. You still need to pass that language exam. You still need to put in your profile to check where you rank and see if you're going through express entry, provincial nomination, a work visa, or a living caregiver visa, or a support parent or support worker pilot come January, whatever you want to use, or a student visa, right? Immigration is different. So an immigration into Canada is not dependent on your current country of residence, but you should try as much as possible in your current country of residence. If it's not the country where you are a citizen, you should maintain a legal stay. So don't some people, they can still get it, right? But that's a whole lot of immigration lawyer issues and all of that, because you're not showing a good trend, right? So, but I believe most of the nurses asking are maybe on a work visa in UK, or they are working in Nigeria and all of that. So you still need to do the same things. Write your IELTS exam, assess your credentials. Those two things are not negotiable. You must do those two, irrespective of the route you want to take. Because I tell people that IELTS and your credential evaluation in Canadian immigration is like the Jesus in the Christianity, by which if you don't pass through him, you cannot see the kingdom. Do you understand that kind of analogy, right? You have to have it so that if anything, like because sometimes there could just be a change of policy. And trust me, that policy may just stay open for a very short while. So if you have all your documentations handy, you can easily just apply for that without wasting a whole lot of time. Like early this year, in January, the Canadian government opened the pilot for personal support workers, and if you wanted to hire someone as sort of like a child care person, and they needed just about 2,750 applications. Before you blink your eye like this, that thing it's over. Like, so it is a matter of, if you snooze, you lose. And you needed an ECA and your language test. And we all know that ECA takes a long time to get. That's your credential evaluation. And language test everywhere may have been booked up by the time that opportunity presents itself. So if you know you remotely have a Canadian immigration dream, have those two things handy so that when things open up, you'll be able to take advantage of it.
Thank you so much. So, can you quickly tell us briefly about provincial nominee, please? I want to tell something to everybody. So, Vicky is she has an immigration consultation sort of that you can book her. It's not free. You can send me a message if you want to, because I see the questions are a lot, and I don't know how we want to cover all those questions. So, please, if you are really serious, you can send me a DM on Ife_Ofela. I'll drop a message for me on this chat, on this YouTube live after the session, to book a session with Vicky. Please, you can do a one-on-one session with her, so that we are tailoring it to your own need. Because if you answer here, we're going to answer broadly. But when you book a one-on-one consultation, we're going to tailor it to your own need. Do you understand? So please, if you are really serious, you can book a session with. She's also a nurse, so she's not going to. It's not like it's overboard charging. But of course, there's time is money. So everybody, these ones they are doing for me, they're doing it because we know Nosofela. Usually, everybody charges for their time. This is Canada. Nothing is free. So yeah. If you're really serious, book a session with Vicky, please, so that we'll just touch some of these things. Otherwise, we will sleep here today and Nurse MJ just go back from night. I don't want to keep her waiting. I've been waiting for my study visa application over 8 months now. Done medicals. Any ideas why it's taking long?
Oh, well, it is what it is. That's the answer to that.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
You know what? Canadian immigration is so funny because, especially with study visa, I tell people that with study visa, you have a less than 20% chance to get approved. It's sad, but it's true, right? Yeah. With permanent residents like federal skilled worker and the express entry, you have a 99.999% of getting approved if you're selected. And the only 0.001 I'm leaving there is just for your village people. If they decide to use you, right? So it's all different. But with study permits, at least you have gotten, I see the person said he has gotten medicals. Getting medicals is a good sign. It doesn't mean they would approve, but it's better than
nothing. Yeah.
Right? So what you need to do now is, if your date has passed, your resumption date, get your school to defer your admission. Then you can raise up a web form and send IRCC your new admission letter, so they know that your school deferred your admission and you still have that admission waiting. But really, all you can do is wait and pray. That's it. There's nothing else anybody can do for you.
Okay, I really would love to stress on something, Vicky, and I think maybe this is also something you're seeing. We tend to get a lot of questions, but the thing is, there is no, I don't know if it's the fact that we're not emphasizing enough that to come to Canada, you have to be financially prepared. That, I don't know how to stress that finances. Few times people have come to my inbox telling me, I heard that you're in Canada. How can I come to Canada? Whew. Number one, when I asked them, how financially prepared are you? I start hearing things like, oh, I'm thinking maybe in the next 2 or 3 years. Are you serious? And then the next question again I ask them is, what is your bank statement reading? I don't have much now, maybe 1 million. I'm gonna be honest with you. Your minimum should start at least 10 million. I am not trying to exaggerate or throw you off brand. And I'm being honest. When I came to Canada, in fact, like Vicky said, that share of your village people of 0.1%, I am being honest with you. It's applicable. You have to pray for grace of God, even with the financial money aspect. You have to still pray for the grace of God. It is Canada system, like Vicky said, is complicated. It's crazy, to be honest. But that financial aspect, it's not to shy you guys away from asking questions. I see a lot of questions and I'm like, it seems like you guys are not even listening to what she's saying. Someone is asking, can I still do ICES or ICAS with RN? And I'm like, is it that you're not paying attention or you're just wanting to just throw the questions? I'm sorry, but MJ is a very assertive nurse. So I don't know how to beat around the bush. I just try to tell you exactly how it is so that you have an idea. I don't pet the truth, because the problem is when you come here without having a clear knowledge of what Canada is about, you feel you've been duped. You feel like, oh, they didn't tell me this. Oh, my sister, my brother, nobody did tell you truth, though. It's just those ones that really, really out there to help you, like the immigration consultants. When they tell you this is what it is, do not let somebody else that is sitting in their house that tend to come here by mere chance come and be giving you a different info and you think that that's it. It's different. So I just want you to understand that what your consultant tells you, your immigration consultant tells you, it's very crucial. Do not go and use Amaka within my backyard case to judge your own. It's totally different. It's an individualistic
Exactly. And
assessment.
yes, like Nurse MJ has said, is highly individualistic. And aside that, right, it depends on the route you use to come to Canada. I came to Canada in 2017 as a student. I came because I wanted to start my bachelor's degree in nursing. So that's the visa I got and left Nigeria, right? Then in 2018, I got my permanent residence independent of my study permit. So I still had a valid study permit till 2023, right? But I got my study permit was valid in 2023 or thereabout. But I got my this thing, my permanent residence in 2018. Okay, I'm trying to reconcile dates in my head. I think my study permit was for 4 years from 2017, so you can do the math, right? So yeah, I think 2021 or 22, I can't remember. But what I'm saying is that after getting my permanent residence, I stopped the school because I got my permanent residence because of my previous education as a nurse midwife with 3 years experience in Nigeria. That's what my immigration was based on, right? So if you come in as a student, times have changed from 2017 to right now, 2023. In 2017, I was attending one of the cheapest universities, right, in Canada, which was like Brandon University. And then our tuition was like $8,000 a year, right? Right now, Brandon University tuition is about 18 to 22,000. So you see the disparity. So even when I say that, okay, when I came to Canada, home and abroad, I had 1,000 US dollars on me because Naira was like 500 and something per dollar. I got my visa in like December 2016. Then Naira was crazy. So I waited to come to Canada like June 2017, right? So I came in with, okay, I had 1,000. I used $100 to sow seed. that the Lord, and the Lord should bless our route.
You.
That the Lord should bless our route. So I had my balance of 900. You understand? So, but I knew that bad as it bad, right? I still have someone to call on. Like I had my aunt who was like, oh, if you need anything, call me. I know some of them, some aunties are audio, but I know that's my particular auntie. She means what she's saying, right? I didn't really call her for anything, but she still like sent me like 400 when I got to Canada. And I got to Canada and I met amazing, amazing people. I met them online, right? We started chatting, exchanging emails. When I was coming to Canada, my mom was like, this one you want to go and stay in man house, right now. I was like, don't worry. What I
Follow
said,
that like Ninja.
I said, it's not Nigeria. 911 is working. I
Exactly.
said, one is working. He will not come and burst into my room. So
Mhm.
yeah. So when I got to my city, I met with the guys, right? And they're like, okay, you can stay in this room. I lived in that house, that friend of mine for a year. I was staying, sorry, for a month. I was staying in the other lady's room, and that one was living with her boyfriend at the time, right? So I was just bunking in her room there. After 1 month, I moved out, got my own room, got a job. My friends there, the friends I met there, right? They are now like my family right now. They helped me get a job and all of that. So I started working. I came in June. I started working in July. So I will not advise you to toe that route, because just because say the thing work for Vicky does not mean it may work for
That's why I say no use a matter with the backyard, they judge your own
you.
case.
Because I'm not in the backyard. Then you now, if you now go to somewhere like Toronto, or you go to Ottawa, or you're in Montreal or Calgary, nobody they look at your face for there.
Especially BC.
Be
Nobody sent you.
Forget be out of the question, because if you want to kill yourself, it's you that care. So you now decide to land in a freaking expensive city. Right? In my little town in Brandon in Canada, right? A 3 bedroom apartment you could get for as low as $1,050. A friend of mine in British Columbia is paying 1,600 for a 1 bedroom. So it is so your coat according to your material. If you like your fat, so breast
Mm-hmm.
according to your material that you have. Do you get? So that's just one of those things. So right now, that idea of I want to work in order to pay my tuition would not work, because legally you have to work just 20 hours.
Hours. Yeah.
But if you're in as a permanent resident, you have a little softer land, because like I have a relative who just came in, right? Then they decided that they want to go to learn trucking. The province gave them the money to go back to school to learn the trucking. Do you understand? So that means that you could get those things. If they wanted to go back to school to go study nursing, they can get student loans and grants, right? If you're not working, you will get money as dash, you will get some that you have to pay back. So Canada is a very good socialist environment like that. They
It-
try to balance everybody equally. But students with a lot of restrictions, carry your money, at least money for 1, because from April to September you can work back to back any amount of hours you want. But when school is in session, usually you have to work 20 hours, and you don't know how fast you're going to get a job. And also, I want to tell everybody, you're already in Canada as a student, no matter how rich you think your parents are, try and work. Why? Because I've seen so many people fall into the pitfall of when they just came to Canada, they were big boys. They were living La Vida Loca. But like last year, when the government said that anybody who has worked 1,050 hours in healthcare, as say maybe a healthcare aide, support worker, apply for the TRO to PRO route, right? People who have worked were able to apply, even as a student,
Mhm.
still qualified, because the students, you have that implied work permit status, right? So they were apply and get their permanent residence even while they had finished the schooling that brought them. So that's a policies changes. So you have to try to place yourself in the best position to get it. Like right now, if you're a visitor in Canada and you are able to secure a job that is willing to give you an LMA from now till the 28th of February next year, you can convert inland within Canada from a visitor to a work permit. So that's another example of right. And once that policy expires, it's gone. Except the minister and his cabinets and all of that try to come up with something else, that particular thing would be gone.
Yeah.
So it's very important for you, very strategic about your move, right? Do we have any other questions?
I just quickly wanted to add something to what Vicky has said as a student. And one thing that helped me while I was a student back in 2014 was networking. Network with other students. Don't isolate yourself. You can't get all the information you need by staying in your room and not talking to people.
God,
Talk to people, network, connect, be out there. You
yes,
know, it will help you in the long run.
exactly. Even if you're an SU,
Hmm.
SU's network too. It doesn't mean that because you're in your room alone, like the Holy Spirit in you will move you to another person with the Holy Spirit in them. Network. If you are Alhaji's wife,
Vicky.
it's true. Because I find different categories of people. Either the ones that just arrive and decide to just run into, uh, you know, or the ones that, they're so excited about the freedom and, it's a thousand things they're trying to juggle at once and they flunk out of school. Have a good balance, right? If you came in as a student, stay on top of your books because
Exactly.
in Canada, you need a high CGPA if you really get profits from things, right? So if you want your masters, they may tell you that the competitive CGPA is a 3.5. So if you ended up graduating with I better pass my neighbor, you just got two and say, okay, take your certificate and that shall go. How would you remain like you understand? So it's difficult sometimes to block out the noise, right? But especially for those ones that are younger, like okay, let me say like us now that have started to enter into this status, we're getting to grandma status, right? They're hiding their heads. but, but
Vicky, help me out. Wait till they worry you.
Mhm. I
Wait
do
till they
this.
worry you, Vicky.
we are living girls. We will not say we are ladies, right? We're giving tush names, right? We are tight. We're not living. We are still trying to live our baby girl life, right? But we are more focused. At least those
Exactly.
of us with the thing inside our head.
Mm-hmm.
There are still some 30 plus or is like 25 above that are still, you wonder what happened. That's village people issue. That's when it's a separate thing on its own. But you should be focused to balance it. Make friends because sometimes these friends are going to refer you for jobs. They're going to be your references. Like when we're doing, like me in my town, I'm chief reference here. Everybody, we are because we all work in same places, right? So if you need a reference, you can reach out to somebody you know can talk for you, right? You can reach out to somebody you know can talk for you, and the person will talk for you. Somebody say, Vicky, get bad mouth. Sorry, I choose myself. I'm a Benin girl. This is my husband's name, right? But that know me will know me by my maiden name, right? So, but what I'm saying is balance your stuff out, right? Meet people. Those people you could be through your church. Have a community of Nigerians or Africans that you talk to. I don't believe in segregating yourself from your community and saying all Nigerians are bad. Don't do that because I loved Nnas Ife's initiative when I first met her because she took the initiative to open a WhatsApp. If you have started your NNAS, you have started your immigration, you need a community to encourage each other. Join this group. You understand? Nurse MJ joined the group not because she wants to do her NNAS or whatever, because she's already a nurse in Canada. Nurse MJ right there is the dream, right? She's already a registered nurse in Canada. Hmm? So she joined because she's passionate about nursing and about people and about uplifting one another. And she joined to raise the spirit to show that this local woman from Anambra State, I don't know what state she's from though. I'm just saying, but this woman is here and she can be here. You too, who you're listening, you can get there too. You just have to be dedicated. You just have to be dedicated and know that, okay, these things take time. And Canadian immigration, my dear brothers and sisters, and however you identify, You have to be patient because people say it's too long. That's the complaint I always get. It's too long. But whether you start something today or not, time is going to pass. So if you want today, you can decide I'm going to go start a nurse because I'm not even a nurse, but I'm listening to people and it seems like an interesting field. Start today. In 3 years, you're done, right? Or 3 to 5, whatever route you go. Well, I'll go for the other trying to enter into nursing, right? 3 years, you're done. And in 2 years after that, you could be literally anywhere. I
A
tell
travel nurse.
yes, you could be
They will even pay it back as a travel nurse. You won't even think about the
exactly.
stress.
Like Canada decided to rain on my parade. Sense. So I decided to go to the US, the travel nurse. Right now, I'm living my baby girl life. Right?
Ricky, there's something you repent now.
You know, I'm trying. I'm trying to keep some decorum, right? But now my agency now is a travel nursing agency in the US, and I'm currently like in California right now for some, do some paperwork and all, get that ball rolling. So that's just to say that. But now I've got my citizenship from Canada already, like a few months, 2 months ago, thereabout month. Yeah. But that's just you that all these things are possible. Your goals don't have to change. Just keep going gradually. I can see my classmates from nursing, they're coming to show their heads here. And they want to cast me. Eh? But God,
Don't worry, God will save them.
don't ask them, don't mind them. Eh? Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you so much. So I want us to quickly touch. I want us to quickly touch NNAS. So everybody, we're all going. Consultant MJ and Vicky, we're all going to talk about this. Let's talk about NNAS quickly. So, consultant, you're going to start. Tell us about NNAS. Why is it important? And then Vicky will back up. Dr. MJ will come in. So I want us to quickly talk about NNAS. It's very important that we touch NNAS before we leave this place today. So Peace, over to you. Tell us what NNAS is all about. Like a brief intro, then Vicky will back up, then MJ will back up. Yeah.
Brief intro. So your NNAS is like your starting point with your licensing journey with Canada. So NNAS basically just collects data, they analyze it, and then generate what we call an adversary report. So with your adversary report, you would proceed to the regulatory body. But then I think we need to understand oh my God, I have a call coming. Sorry, guys. Right. So NNAS, the reports that they generate, it's adversary in nature. And I tend to tell people it's just your starting point. Don't focus so much on it. You need to understand that it doesn't mean anything. Even if you get comparable, you get somewhat comparable, you get non-comparable, it doesn't mean anything. So just make sure when you're starting off your NNAS, you're sending in the right documents. For the employer form, I do tell people to try as much as possible to not send too many employers because that would just slow down a lot of things. Try and pick the best employer you have that would mainly just put you out there, not the one that would criticize you and say things that are not supposed to say. So just choose a good employer, send in your forms, get your transcripts from your university and whatever school you attended, just send them down and NNAS will generate a report for you. One other thing I wanted to talk about with NNAS is that with your adversary report, you can actually appeal it. I think most people don't know about this and they are not availing of this resource. So if you get an adversary report that if you kind of look at the report, look at the ETPs, which is like the entry to practice sections, and you can understand that, okay, something is wrong here, you can actually appeal that decision at the NNAS level before it goes to the regulatory body. So all you have to do to appeal that is to just send a message, a detailed message to NNAS, and they would at least I know 2 people who have done that, and then their report came back as somewhat comparable, from non-comparable to somewhat comparable. So just make sure you understand how it works. If you need help with that, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you with that. So the basic thing is get your information, open an application with Nnas, pay the fees, and download the forms that they would send to your employer. Make sure they are putting in the right details, the right curriculum. Curriculum is a big thing. If you don't make sure that they are putting in the right information, you will not get a favorable report. So make sure your employer is putting in the right information, your school is putting in the right curriculum, and you would be ready to go. So I don't know if you guys want to add to that.
Exactly, you've said like a whole lot. So, like, I just want to emphasize that your NNS report is so important, because if you send in a shabby transcript, you're going to get a shabby report, and that could mean the difference between a regulatory body telling you that you should just go and take the NCLEX, or them telling you to take a whole lot of other things, right? So if you try to send in a very good, because your transcript and the curriculum or your syllabi, right, whatever your school calls it, so that means that you're sending how you performed when you were going to school and exactly what you were taught. Don't let your school put you into the category of, we taught that, but we don't really write it down in the syllabi. No, let them write down every single thing. And I think that's where us as Nigerian nurses have problems, because when it comes down to it, we are sound. We know what we're doing. We know this. We know book. Like, we know book.
Even the average Nigeria go top class for Canada.
Exactly.
Right.
So
That's
when you
true.
come here, that you will know that you know book. It's just, for some reason, our nursing schools don't like to rate us high when they mark. So your transcript can be looking at B's and C's, but in your school, that was a very good report, especially when you go to a school of nursing. I typically find that the transcripts are not a true representation of the prowess of the students, right? Because, for example, myself, when I was trying to get into a bachelor's degree program in like a school in the US, the transcript my school gave me rated me at a CGPA of about 1.7, maybe 2. So my school in the US said, okay, we're giving you provisional like admission based on how you would do in the next few months. We would know if you're going to be able to continue the program or not. But at the end of the day, I graduated that program with a 4.0 in a 4.0. So is it not the same head? So what happened with the School of Nursing? So that's just to tell you that when you have to request things from your school, let them expatiate, because they don't like, the secretary does not like to type. So it's the same syllabi they've been using since 1960 that they're still using in 2022.
And
right?
they collect huge amount of money from you to give them to send
Exactly. Yeah.
Is there any way we could influence that? Because is there any
I
way?
think we need to start to talk about it, right? So that those who are in the school should know that they need to upgrade it. Because right now, I feel like taking my own School of Nursing, for instance, hopefully, because they have changed from a School of Nursing to a College of Nursing, it would mean that they are using a new
advanced,
a new syllabi, a new approach, right? You know, every school has their own paradigm they use to teach and all of that. Approach they choose to use, right? So hopefully they would have been able to generate a new syllabi that is truly reflective of the knowledge that they impacted into the nurses, because they did impact a lot, right? I haven't learned a whole lot of new things through the bachelor's degree I did and through all the other programs I've been doing along the line. I tell people that the anatomy you did in Nigeria is the same anatomy abroad. We didn't study anatomy of rats. It was still the same human being, right? The heart doesn't change where the heart is. So you're good on your own. So don't fall into that category that is too scared to take the NCLEX just because you're a Nigerian trained nurse. You understand? Like, I remember when I was preparing for my NCLEX in 2018, I told someone that I was going to go write the NCLEX. And what the person told me was, oh, did you school in Canada? And I said, no. I'm just only going with these people who schooled in Canada to go and write on the same day because we're traveling together to the next town to go take it. And she was like, oh, okay, you didn't school here. I was like, no, I didn't. She was like, okay, no problem. It's good for you to first try how the exam look like so that when it gets to your turn, you will know what it looks like. In my mind, I was like, oh, Jesus, my heart.
Is she serious?
I swear down. Like, that was the feedback I got, right? I just smiled. I was like, in my head, I was like, you know, not me, right?
Yeah.
I know who I am. You know what you're saying. It doesn't change anything. But we went to go and write the exam and we were successful. Finished my NCLEX in like an hour, 30 minutes, thereabouts, under 70, at 75 questions. And after the NCLEX, I truly looked at it that, okay, is this the exam? You know, you have that remnant feeling that, okay, am I waiting for something else? Right? But you have written it. So I tell people, trust yourself. Like, trust yourself. You got this. Just approach it and do what you need to do, and you'll be successful.
Yeah. So just to, I noticed there's been some comments regarding Omni College. Funny enough, I actually came out from Omni College. Or will I say I'm an alumni of Omni College. Now, I'm not too sure if Omni College is going to be a process to recommend. But again, like I said, that will be a total different conversation for another day if I'm chanced. And I am not, I feel I can go through it with anyone interested. But I would say this for Omni College. If you are not, if you are going to be very certain for a fact that you're willing to keep the patience and not, you know, just keep renewing until you get an employer and finish all the process with Nnas, then probably you would consider for but other than that, I don't think I would want to recommend that program for anybody, to be honest, just because it wasn't exactly what we expected when we came here. And that's why I said it's always good for you to listen to your immigration consultant. Do not use what's in the backyard to judge your own case so that when you come, you're not like, oh my God, had I known, right?
Yeah.
And then with the Nnas in question, I'm going to be more centered in BC and Alberta because that's where I have the experience in when it comes to Nnas. Like I said, province is very important. You want to research and do all your stuff. And also, like, you know, you can appeal the Nnas if you feel that your advisory report is not okay. In my case, I got 2 advisory reports, which was the RN and the LPN. So for the RN, it said I was somewhat comparable. Their father. In LPN, they said I was comparable. Their father. So here's the thing with Nnas. In fact, said Nnas was actually faster as of the year 2015 when I came here. But I think that there was a change of authority or something. So it's now very slow. And it was like I said, we were even targeting those from Nigeria. It was getting crazy that the advisory report we're getting from Nigeria was crazy because the same school of nursing in St. Gerard I did was the same school of nursing in St. Gerard another person did, and her report was different. You know, and it's like, are these people mad or something, you know? But although this was as of, I think, 2018 or 2019 when she started her Nnas process. Now, this is what I recommend. If you're not yet in Canada, you stand a good chance with your Nnas to start in Nigeria. Do not wait till you come to Canada. And this is my reason. You can follow up with your school, just like Vicky was talking about, you need them to expatiate those syllabi. So you can be on a very good one by following up with the school, and then if it means following the secretary bomber to bomber, let her give you what you want so that you are sure of what they are sending to Nnas. And again, the most barrier to Nnas is our Nursing and Midwifery Council in Nigeria. Their license to have it sent, the license of verification to have it sent to Nnas sometimes is a process. Of course, Nigeria, nothing be easy now. You got to fit somebody's pocket so that they can do experts for you. Even that their experts go reach 1 month sometimes. So it's very, very crazy. So I used to say every disappointment is a blessing. The fact that you're in Nigeria doesn't mean it's discouraging or it's disappointing. No. As long as you've not started your NNAS, it's also a good leverage for you to start while you're in Nigeria. Because I started when I was in Nigeria. My immigration consultant told me to start while I was in Nigeria. And by the time I came to Canada, I got my advisory report within 2 months. Because I made sure before I left Nigeria, all the necessary documentation I was needing from Nigeria had already been sent out to NNAS. So I didn't have to bother myself anymore on following anybody in Nigeria. So I just, coming to Canada right now was just a consultation and writing this Talbot. And another thing is that English proficiency that you will need based on the province you're applying for. NNAS would not ask you as a Nigerian, they didn't ask me for any English proficiency. If your first language indicated during your application is English, now I would advise keep your mother's tongue for backyard. I get it. You want to represent your mother's tongue, but you're coming to the West Africa, Western world. You have to make sure that you are indicating your first language is English. Let's be honest. Nigeria no get one common language. We have so many. So if we're going to look and see, the most national, most accepted is English. So just use English as your primary language. Nobody go snatch your mama tongue from your mouth. It's there, it's there. But for you to go through the application, because I that people take first language, Igbo, second language, English. My sister, my brother, anyone go ask me for that English proficiency exam, whether you like them or not. But if you use English as your first language, they're not going to disturb you. But when you start applying to province, the one that I know, BC, Alberta, they will require an English proficiency. Now, I used to advise people, IELTS is no more the IELTS that you know before. IELTS right now is testing your IQ. It's not for the exam anymore. So I don't even encourage people to write IELTS. I tell them go to CELBAN. If you can do CELBAN, because CELBAN is nursing related. So that way you can even anticipate there's a more higher success rate in CELBAN than IELTS. I had people that wrote IELTS for the fourth, like up to 4 times. They gave up and went to CELBAN. And CELBAN was one attempt and that was it. So I used to encourage CELBAN is because I did CELBAN, I just only practiced for 1 month and that was good for me. So CELBAN is very easy to navigate because it's kind of go in tune with nursing-like related tasks. So you even anticipate what the answer will be. And it's similar to what it's actually going to be. So it's easier for you to write the CELBAN and pass in one sitting. Now, to be honest with you, we don't have issues when it comes to English. But sometimes some of them ask me, did I study English? Their papa. What did they expect when we were being colonized by the whites? So it's more or less like they sometimes feel like as if we learn our own English. And even when they speak, the vocabulary errors that comes out from their mouth, and I'm like, these are the people they're using as mentor for us. Meanwhile, now we study English even past them. So that English is very annoying that they are asking us, we Nigerians, to go and write English proficiency exam. It's very annoying, to be honest. I think I heard it in the news that somebody was fighting against it in some university that are still asking Nigerians to provide English proficiency, because that's BS, to be honest. So yeah, when it comes to the province of BC and Alberta, I have quite an experience with that because those were the provinces I used when it came to the NNAS process. Now, like I said, the NNAS before, it's not the NNAS today. They took a lot of process. And if you want to get all your documentation, you have to start now. Don't say, oh, let me wait till I come to Canada. No, I would encourage you to start now while you're still in Nigeria. And remember, NNAS costs $650 USD for the first application. Now, I'm not sure if they've changed it, but from the last I checked, it was still $650 USD. And then your second application is $250 USD, I think. And any other applications following that second one is $50. Now, if you start your NNAS and you didn't meet up to the requirements and 1 year expires, you start all over. You're not going to say, let me renew. No, you start all over. You pay the $650 USD. and you start. You have to start gathering again. They will tell you that they don't have it on their archive, which is very annoying because by law, they're supposed to have your documents up to 2 or 3 years, I think. But they'll tell you that you should resend again. So you have to keep you have to be conscious about the time factor with the Nnas. And the moment you get your advisory report, now this is where I would want to advise you on. If they tell you your report is somewhat comparable, or they tell you that your report is comparable, my dear, it is only whoever that is sitting on your case in the nursing licensure of BC that would decide if you would go and do a transitional coursework, or you should just go and challenge the Canadian province exam, which is the ENTAILS. They call it ENTAILS right now for BC, or they call it OSCE is for Ontario. For BC is still ENTAILS. It used to be SEC, now it's ENTAILS. Now, your advisory report, I will be honest with you, does not determine if BC will give you an easy process or a hard process. And this is the honest truth. Because me that got a report of comparable to LPN and somewhat comparable to RN, I was still told to do a transitional coursework. After challenging the ENTAILS exam, I was still told to do a transitional coursework. And then I had somebody that was still the same set with me with Homey College, that she was not even comparable at all. She just went straight after her, what are they calling? After her ENTAILS, she went straight to go and challenge her. She did 300 hours of practicum, and she went straight to challenge her NCLEX. So that's why I said it's individual. It's very individualistic. What measure they use for you will be different from someone. Now, I don't know if it's based on country. I don't know if it's based on education. I highly do not know. But this is what I'll tell you. You just have to keep your mind open in the process. If you get your advisory report, do not let that discourage you. If you feel that the report is not okay and you want to appeal, go ahead. But if you want to take it, save yourself the stress, and just go straight and apply to the advisory or to the regulatory body you want to go for, go ahead. And then wait on the process. Now, here's the thing that you usually go through once you get your advisory report. You go straight to the regulatory body. The regulatory body will still ask you for some requirements, which is very straight. Another day, they will still request for some document that you've already sent to Nnas. So whatever documents you are sending, I would encourage you keep a copy for yourself as well, so that will be easy for you to track. And then when you start their process, that's when you learn how to go write that English exam, because that English expires after 2 years. So you want to do it closer to when your advisory report is out, so that way you are not having to go and repeat another English proficiency exam again. One is enough. And then once you get that out of the way, just anticipate for 2 things. You're gonna definitely challenge the Canadian exam, which is the province exam, the ENTAILS. In other province, like I said, it's Husky, but in BC it's ENTAILS. After your ENTAILS, now the ENTAILS now is based on what would determine your next step. Your ENTAILS now would either be, oh, she did well, you did well, go and challenge the NCLEX, or, oh, I think you still need a transitional coursework, go ahead. Or you need to go do a practicum of how many hours. Your ENTAILS result, basically, in BC, is what determines your next step. Advisory report is one thing. Nnas, like I said, is your first start. Once the advisory report is out, your second step is following up with the regulatory body. Now, the third step is writing that province exam, either the ENTAILS, the Husky, or I've forgotten which one Alberta calls it, but it's CPNRE for LPN. So after that exam, it tells you, now that's when you finally know how soon would you get your RN or your LPN license. Would you get it in the next 1 year if you were asked to do a transitional coursework? Yes. Would you get it in the next few months if you're told to just do few courses? Yes. So that result alone, now that ENTAILS is now going to tell you when and anticipate when you should look at getting your RN license. But the process is long. And I always say to people, I will give you the mentorship that you need, but I will always state the fact. It's a long process. You have to have that perseverance. You have to be patient. You have to starve your distractions and feed your focus. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Nnas MJ. Just to add to that, right now, I don't want everybody to be too discouraged because, like Nnas MJ said, she chose British Columbia. Hmm? British Columbia is expensive, and British Columbia too has coconut head when it comes to nursing, getting your nursing license. So if you know you're not going to BC, Alberta, Manitoba, they have similar processes, meaning you do your NNAS, then you go to regulatory body, then the next step would be they will give you a report, and the report most times is to go and take that provincial skill test. So it's like a skill test of your skills. It's both theory, OSCE, and some practical things you would show, right? So that's what you do. For Manitoba, it's a 3-day exam. It costs $3,000 for Manitoba. So you do that exam, and how you perform in that exam will be your next regulatory board advice. So it can either be go for a 1-year bridging program, go for a 2-year bridging program, or Manitoba sometimes to tell you go for a 4-year nursing degree. And once you have gotten your reports from the province now in one of those provinces, right? It's hard to now go to another province to go and restart because they will adopt the advice of the province you have completed. So if you know you want to get your license on time, I advise you go to Ontario. Ontario is not a bad province to stay. It's in between, in the sense of expensive and cheap. It's cheaper than BC, but it's still quite pricey. But you don't have to stay in Toronto. You don't have to stay in big areas, right?
Okay, Vicky, I'm gonna tell you something now. When you talk about BC, there's a misconception about BC being very, very expensive. Vancouver, yes, but not all part of BC. There are places that you can stay in BC. In fact, I remember when Salmon Am, I was getting a 2-bedroom for less than $1,000.
Definitely. Yeah. So there's always going to be a difference between staying in Lekki
there
and in Saleko.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere.
Exactly.
But relatively, some provinces are more expensive than others. And you also have to understand that nursing salary in Canada is sort of on the same level, kind of. It's just a little above in the different provinces. So whether you are staying in a cheap area, you earn almost the same thing as someone staying in a very expensive city of Vancouver. You understand? So like I was saying, Ontario, you can get your license on time because they've had recent policy changes that allows nurses who have challenged the NCLEX since 2015 to meet the educational requirements of your license. That is to say, once you start your NNAS and you challenge your NCLEX through either the US or Australian Board of Nursing, and get that your NCLEX passed, you can transfer your NCLEX to Ontario, Board of Nursing in Ontario, and they will waive the educational portion for you. You will now be left with only recency of your practice, which is that your work experience, right? So if you've practiced in the last 3 years, thereabout, you will be able to get your license instantly. You don't have to go and suffer NCAS in British Columbia. You don't have to go do OSCE. But again, it is an individualized process.
Exactly.
Some people may still get OSCE.
I'm just going to say that there are other things you need to teach aside the educational requirements and evidence of practice. There is the jurisprudence exam. There is
exactly. Alberta does the jurisprudence exam a lot. Yeah.
And then I think the biggest one is the authorization to work if you're not in Canada. So
yes.
Like all these things we're saying right now is for someone who, like, let's be clear, someone who already has a positive goal on immigration, meaning you are either have gotten your student permit approved, your permanent residence, you've already gotten nominated, so you're waiting for approval, then you can start your NNAS. If you have no way of knowing which immigration you want to use right now, do not start NNAS because it's a waste of
It's a
your
waste
time.
of your time.
You have to first of all secure your immigration pathway to Canada. Then you can start NNAS. Like when Nurse MJ say, start your NNAS in Nigeria, start your NNAS in Nigeria. She means if you are waiting for your visa, start your NNAS in Nigeria. Visa that you know they would approve, right? So if you're in the permanent residence pool and you are waiting for your PPR, which is your passport request, start your NNAS. If you're just applying for study permits and you don't even know how, you honestly don't know how it's going to end, do not start your NNAS because you don't know yet. But once you've gotten your PPR, you are about coming, start your NNAS, right? So that's to say, have a firm grip on immigration first before you start.
Yeah.
So that's that.
I agree with what you've said, but I bet to defer a bit, like just a little bit there. Because if you look at the turnout of things in Canada right now, for example, I'm going to use Ontario, for example. So if you have done your ENTAILS from the US or from Australia, and you're just left with authorization to work, you can start looking for jobs. And I'm pretty sure an employer would be more likely to employ you and give you a job.
Yeah.
You're just left with just that bit. So I think I agree with MJ on that. If you want to start your NNAS in Nigeria a bit earlier, if you're planning to go on that route, I mean, if Ontario is your goal, I think it won't be bad to
but you know, that's what you're saying right now is for you to have a plan on immigration, which is what I'm still saying. Have a plan, right? Like I said before, there are so many ways you could get to Canada. So if you look at it that, because for some provinces, to aid your provincial nomination chances, you have to be licensed in the profession you say you're coming here to come and do. For example, Saskatchewan, nursing is under the professions you need a license for. Do you understand? So once you have that, your license, you are having your license at your own peril, in quotes, because having your license does not in any way mean that you're going to have a straight road to immigration. Unlike the US and the UK, for instance, you know, US process, you do your CGFNS or whatever body you do, you write your NCLEX exam, you get an employer instantly and they file for you. So they file for you because you are a registered nurse and you get your green card. Canada is not so easy to get employers. It's not impossible, but it takes a lot more work. Like I said at the beginning, I have people who have gotten healthcare aides positions in Canada as a work visa that they were sponsored. Do you understand? And they were sponsored and they are nurses. So their employer would also assist them through the process of getting their nursing license eventually. But they came up to Canada, or they are on their way to Canada because they are nurses and they employ them as healthcare aides. Some of them have not even started NNAS. Some of them have already started NNAS. You understand? So if you want to approach NNAS first, it's technically at your own peril because it does not guarantee a job, but it increases your chances of getting one. Because again, policies are changing and you should keep up with policies, because provinces like New Brunswick and all these Atlantic provinces, you have a very high chance of getting a job from outside of Canada if you've gotten your Canadian license. So you can approach those type of provinces. Manitoba does not have any pathway right now. Do you understand? I stay in Manitoba in Canada.
So let me get this straight. Right now, is it only Ontario that can give someone a license, a Canadian license, when they're not even in the country?
I think New Brunswick does that as well. It's not just Ontario. Well, I'm not sure now. But Ontario can give you like a conditional license if you're just
left. I thought you have to have like a residency.
You have residence in Ontario, right? But what people do for Ontario is that after they have passed everything and it gets to the point of bring your residence, right? They write to them that I'm trying to get residence, so could you give me a conditional license that states that in order for this to be recognized, I have to be resident in Canada. Do you understand? So it's like when you take that conditional offer and show it to an employer, they know that when you step foot into the province or into the country, your license is sort of effected. But prior to that time, you have license like who no gets.
Oh, I see. Because I know that BC doesn't do that. Alberta doesn't do that.
Yes.
Because I remember when I was applying for Alberta too, for the LPN, I was asked for a proof of residency.
Exactly. In Manitoba, you have to be either a temporary resident or a permanent resident.
Yeah.
In order to
it was a study permit anyways, and I was doing the whole process. So as long as you can provide the residency, that's about it. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Okay. That's good to know.
So
well,
for the person that was also talking about Omni, I tell people Omni is like a jam lecture. You know how we attend jam lectures in Nigeria to enter into university. For me, that is the best description of Omni. Omni prior to this time, prior to 2022, was a wonderful option. Now it's an okay option just because you have other ways of getting your licensure in Ontario, right? But
the thing I didn't really value then with Omni, just to shed a little bit, was the fact that when they were doing their will I call it marketing for their school, they weren't telling us what the process was supposed to expect. We didn't know that you're gonna be solely responsible for looking for employers on your own. I mean, they can help you by sending you infos that, oh, this employer is looking for, or they can use like for example, reference,
info sessions,
kind of thing that can help you get job and all of that. But they are, when you finish from Omni College, you basically do not graduate until you have met a requirement of having to do the getting an employer and all of that for you to graduate. So even if you meet all their requirements and you graduate, it does not give you a work permit in Canada. It does not give you a work permit in Canada. You are ineligible. It's there. So you cannot even use that. So the only way for you to graduate from Omni College and use Omni College, it's in the immigration, is this. When you get your an employer that is willing to sponsor you, because I went through the BCPNP route. So the moment I got that employer, I had to graduate from Omni College so I can get a co-op. I was on a co-op work permit with that employer, and then that employer transitioned into being my sole employee-based this thing, work permit for me. So it then came out as a work permit holder for me before I had to go and apply for PR. You get? So Omni did not really add much. The only thing Omni did was helping me to renew, to keep in line with my immigration.
To make you not run out of status.
Thank you.
So that is what they do, right?
Yes,
like I said, it's a jam lecture. Somebody asked, what's Omni College? It's just like a jam lecture for NCLEX, right? So they sort of introduce you to the Canadian healthcare environment. They do practicum teachings with you. They teach you some ethics and legalities of nursing in Canada. But you technically are not going to graduate with a certificate that say, I now have a diploma in geriatrics.
It's not.
If you want to do things like that, go to Niagara College and get something like that. But only it's just like they just would continue to assist you until you get your nursing licensure and get a job. So at the point where you get a job, they kind of leave you. But for me, paying $18,000 to a jam lecture,
actually, it's not 18 anymore. It was 18 as of 2015, but right now it's up to 20.
Might have increased, right? It might have increased. So,
and one benefit of
my son is really crying. He's not having it again. I need to go attend to him. So I think we need to round up. Would you can hear him crying. So would of course book another session sometimes. We can't answer all questions. We appreciate everybody on this live today. Yeah, you saw that I'm not talking a lot today because I have a lot of industry experts here, yes, which I really love. But I need to attend to my son now. I think he's hungry. I just need to make him food because I didn't anticipate we were going to spend this much. But I love the fact that we're interacting and it's really great. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. So if you want to book a session with Vicky, send me a DM on my Instagram or drop a message after this live. I would arrange that. And Nurse MJ is very busy. She's a very, very busy woman. So I don't know if you're ever going to see her again after today. I cannot tell. But if you want to book a session with Vicky or Peace or myself, will be available. So I need to start logging up from my YouTube channel so I can attend to family matters. Thank you so much, everybody.
It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you so much, everybody,
for having us.
Thank you, Vicky. I really appreciate. I really appreciate. No, MJ, thank you. I know you came from your night. Thank you so much. GNI, thank you so much. I don't think you can book a session with No MJ. No MJ is a very busy woman. I don't know if that is possible. I don't know.
So here's the thing. If anyone wants to book a session with me, you have to go through the depending on how much you guys are, will tell me, okay, when can I give you? Because if it's one person, I'm sorry, I don't know how to do one because I don't charge for it. If it's like Vicky or Peace that charge, but this one I don't charge at all. I haven't gone into the full mentorship program yet. Hopefully by next year I could start on that ground when I get like basically move back to the coast and just stay in one place, because right now I'm a travel nurse, so my schedule is kind of like up and down. So but right now, for you to get a session with me, you just have to go through with Nurse Othella, and then depending on how many you guys are, then I can be able to see how I can squeeze out time and be able to give in what I can. I'm always here. That's all I say. I will give my
And you can as well try to follow me on Twitter at Vicky Sassy. I think my handle name would be Nurse Ehilas. That's nrs.ehilas. You can send me a DM, but if you draw my attention on the page, I would get in touch with you and send you a DM and get the conversation going if you need anything like that. So yeah.
Awesome.
Pretty much we have heard everything from them. So if you want to book a session with either of them, just send me a DM. I can always arrange that. Thank you so much, everybody. We need to log off now.
Okay.
I think consultants is gone. They are peace, because of course we wanted to spend just 1 hour here. Trust me, but the conversation got heated. It got interesting. We were laughing. Vicky was making us to laugh. She brought out the comedian in her. And Nurse MJ is the professor. Somebody said you are from One Thing on Fire. I think I agree. Everything is fire. So thank you so much, everyone.
Well, it's been a pleasure to be on your show, Nurse Othella.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone.
I hope you enjoy California, and I'll be in touch, of course. You guys,
sure.
Bye.
Bukumi clap. We are done. We are no more answering questions today. Please come again some other time. All right. Thank you so much, Vicky. I appreciate. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.